Hey everyone, welcome back. Sorry, it's been a couple of months since I've been able to get a video out. I've spent a fair amount of time just really focusing on getting a lot of stuff done. And given that it's currently about 4 degrees below zero here in Colorado, I'm spending my time working on videos rather than in the garage. Working on getting the windows installed, and this is just sort of the template here, or the instructions from Sling on how to get that done. Uh, Once you get the surface here and the airplane all prepped up and taped out, you have to abrade the plexiglass, or it's kind of almost an acrylic, uh, with some sandpaper so that the two mating surfaces have some surface area there for the Sikaflex to be able to adhere to. I may have gone overboard with masking things off, but I was just really concerned with the Sikaflex getting everywhere. And spoiler alert, I almost think at this point in time that I don't like working with the Sikaflex on the windows over the Pro Seal and the fuel tanks. At least with the Pro Seal and the fuel tanks, it's not something that is going to be as front and center as something that's on the plexiglass. So I'm I definitely need more practice with this. Anyway, so working on the windows, the rear windows are the area where I chose to start with, and this is just an exercise of taping it on as best as you can. And then what I was using was that vinyl tape to mark the areas off that I needed to trim down to, rather than using some sort of marker or something like that. I didn't want to use a permanent marker because I didn't want to have something that if I accidentally left too much, it would be there permanently. But I was, so it seemed to work, but it was definitely a lot of on and off. So as you can tell, there's a tremendous amount of tape that I went through, both the vinyl and the regular painter masker tape, as part of the process. And then once I got it all done, then I used the vinyl tape to go right up to the edge, and then gave myself the buffer room with the painter's tape. This is just a simple process of marring the area with some 220 grit sandpaper, and it's dusty. If I didn't do a good job of covering the material, or the upholstery inside covered up, but it was just the side panels, and quite honestly, a little bit of vacuum and some cleaning material that they cleaned right up real easily. But I did both the inside and the outside, to make sure that there wasn't anything that was going to bleed over. I started working on putting the doors on because I was thinking, well, it's going to be better to have the door on for the window because it will be in position. But quite frankly, the doors are so very rigid and solid. I really doubt that there's going to be any sort of flexibility between the two. So I'm working on getting the door latch together here, and this kind of was intimidating just because there's a lot of moving parts and there's a lot of little parts to get everything put into the right spot. So I've started off with getting just the the door latch handle, or the rod that goes between the front and rear portion there, and getting all the pieces together. And because some things weren't quite making sense in the actual printed material, I went back to the PDF files that are online. And if you're just watching this for the first time, the printed manuals sometimes are a little out of date, or there's updated versions that are on the PDF Dropbox folder from Sling. So it's always good to double check that in both cases. So I got the door out, start working on that, and trying to figure out how things go together. And let's see what else is coming up on this here. Yep, so just making sure things fit. And as with everything with the plane build, sometimes you got to put it together and take it apart, and multiple times before things start making sense, at least. In this particular case, the holes that receive the shaft for the handle are smaller than what the actual channel is. I'll come back to that in a second here. I'm just getting there's a pin that goes in the door handle latches that that rod pivots off of, and that's just a separate piece, and it's just something you tap together a little bit. You need a hard surface for that, so that's why I'm using part of the vice grip, or the clamp there. And definitely if you like your fingers, hold it together with the pliers there instead. Once you get it started, it's not too bad. Um, so anyway, yeah, so back to the door handle there. The one thing to focus on is that square piece on the right-hand side goes through the latch and then is held in place by the screw on the other end. The the clamp or the latch has a square hole in it, but it's just a tiny bit smaller than what the actual piece that goes in there is. So you have to file that out so that you get a good, nice, snug fit. And then with that square piece, it has a bit of overlap that comes out the other side that I've just filed down so that it was flush with the door latch itself. So basically, when I got it all put together, it was a nice flush surface. You put the screw in the backside, and everything goes together real well. You just used a file there to finish up the last little bit and make sure that it was perfect. Again, just trying to orient myself as far as the door handle goes, and I found out that basically because it's undersized in the door, you have to open that hole just ever so slightly. And this is always one of the fun things because, you start cutting into things or enlarging holes. You don't want it to go too far, but you need to go far enough. And if you go too far, then there's either the problem of you got to get a new door or you have to figure out a way to fix it without getting a new door. I got really lucky. I'm very comfortable with how much I opened up the hole. It's nice and snug, but it's not. There's no slop in it, so it goes together real well. Took me a few tries, just getting in and out. And the Dremel didn't have a drum part that will allow me to do the full part of it. So I just got to do each side, and then it's a matter of putting the pieces together one after the other. And there's a lot of I wouldn't say they're moving parts, but there's a lot of free parts that have to get put together in an oriented fashion so that it all comes together. You just kind of have to work through that. There's also a section here where I put some tape down because we have to measure some distances from the actual door handle itself, and these are the mount points for the not a clamp, but a guide that's halfway down the middle, and then it's the other part where the rear portion of the latch goes together. Rather than marking the door itself, I just put some painter's tape down and marked the painter's tape to get that alignment correct. I also needed to start putting the screws in for the door handle itself, and it's just kind of one of those things where you have to keep plodding on in order to complete the process. And by the way, I have a black hole in my garage. Parts would drop to the floor and I'd have to go find them. And sometimes I didn't, so I'd have to find something to replace it that, if it was something that was replaceable local. Anyway, needed to cut the bolt or the screw a little bit shorter so it would fit. And we'll cover a little bit more on the next video. So thanks for tuning in. Hopefully things are going well, and stay tuned for the next video. Thanks.